Okay. Just checking.
Thanks for
I mean,
letting us know.
just a headline.
Also, literally, all these stories are like, we talked to somebody who at one point knew Oprah, and we asked her, do you think she's doing it? And they said,
Yeah.
yes.
An associate producer at Harpo believes that Oprah will indeed run.
Actively.
Wait a minute. Does that mean I'll get a free set of car keys in my mailbox? Because everyone gets something.
You'll get a tax cut.
You'll get a tax cut. You'll get a tax cut. You have to look under your seat at home to find out how much of a tax cut.
All right.
Well, all right. Shall we do a tech news show?
Let's do it.
Show.
That's the thing to do.
We go. 3, 2, 1. Take it away, Big Jim.
The Daily Tech News Show is brought to you by its global listener base, not outside organizations. To find out how you can contribute, go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, January 11th, 2018. Back in DTNS headquarters in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merrit.
And back at Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
And back in Oakland, California, I'm Justin Robert Young.
Justin Robert Young, you are back from a different location. Sarah and Roger and I have been at CES in unincorporated Clark County, Nevada, but you, my friend, had a fantastic trip to Japan, it sounds.
I did. It was mostly me making my way like a sewer rat through Golden Gai, the bar district of Shinjuku. But we are back and rested and ready to roll.
Hold on. Apparently, Will Harris, friend of the show, helped us set up our live broadcast from London when we went there in October. Doesn't watch the show live because he's text messaging me right as we start the show.
You want to know what he did to me as well? And I can tell you that he is raising money for a great cause. It is, I believe, men's health charity. But you can go to his Just Giving page. Just search for Will Harris, 1L and Will on justgiving.com. And he's raising money for a really good cause.
So go check that out. Absolutely. Let's start, however, with a few tech things you should know.
Sources tell Bloomberg that Dropbox filed confidentially for a U.S. initial public offering. The company was valued at $10 billion back in 2014, so suffice it to say, it's probably still valued pretty high today. Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase are said to be leading the listing, and Dropbox may try to list in the first half of this year.
It's just a feature, though.
The U.S. House of Representatives voted to extend Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Services or Surveillance Act, allowing for the collection of foreign intelligence data, an amendment that would have ended surveillance of U.S. originated messages mentioned or sent to a target did not pass.
Reuters reports Korean Justice Minister Park Song-ki said the ministry, quote, is basically preparing a bill to ban cryptocurrency trading through exchanges. However, President Moon Jae-in told Korean media that the Justice Ministry's position does not reflect that of the entire government.
In an open letter, Intel CEO Brian Krzanich said that the company intends to issue, quote, frequent progress reports of patch progress, performance data, and other information. Intel is also committed to sharing hardware innovations that will accelerate industry-level progress in dealing with side-channel attacks.
Slowly getting more transparent. All right, now here are some more top stories. Kick us off, Jerry.
Google has acquired the UK startup Redux that turns surfaces like phone displays into speakers. The technology can also be used to improve sound quality and create haptic feedback.
So the idea of a Pixel phone where the speaker comes out of the front, comes out of the screen, that saves a little room so you can make it thinner, make it lighter. Yep. That all sounds good. But apparently there's a lot more tech that Redux does that could inform other aspects of Google's own device making. But if this means nothing else, it's that Google's definitely doubling down on device making, don't you think?
Well, and they should. Right. This is an area for which they kind of consciously made a decision not to dive all into. And I think that there's no reason why they shouldn't. They're obviously a gigantic company that I think it honors their best in class internet services software to build hardware that is designed specifically to take advantage of it.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this turns into. Opera Software announced the official launch of Opera News. That's its AI-driven news app. They had it out available in a test before. The launch in African markets is part of Opera's Africa First strategy, which aims to launch its mobile products in Africa before other regions. More than 100,000 people have downloaded Opera News, making it the most downloaded news app in Africa.
Wow. Go Opera.
Well, and I think this is interesting because Africa is seen as a huge growth market, but a lot of companies are waiting. You know, like Apple's not going to go heavy with the iPhone into Africa until it's done better in China and India, and they feel like the market is a little more mature. So a company like Opera can say, look, you know, we're against tough headwinds in Europe, against Chrome in America, against Chrome and Edge. Let's go somewhere where we can capture the market from the beginning. That's good for African users, and it's good for Opera.
Well, and Africa has long led the way in terms of very interesting innovation in mobile everything, really, from payments to communication. Obviously, a very unique landscape there that often leads to people wanting to have mobile ways to communicate directly with their peers. And I think it's fantastic. The only question I would have about Africa as a market in general is how many of the lessons that you learn in Africa translate to the rest of the world, because it is such a unique market.
Yeah, you could make the same argument in reverse too. Like how many lessons that you use in the U.S. translate to the rest of the world. Like maybe they translate to Europe, but not so much to India and certainly not to China.
Sure.
So with Africa, I'd say, well, there's certainly going to be some lessons that will translate fairly well to the Indian market, possibly to the Chinese market. There's a lot of Chinese-African cooperation, so there may be something that Opera can get going there. Although Opera's stance as principally as a company probably doesn't cooperate well with the Chinese market. But again, if they could be on the ground floor, that's a great problem to have. Is we're number one in Africa. Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Well, and also, I mean, more than 100,000 people have downloaded Opera News. That means it's the most downloaded news app in Africa of the entire continent. Lots of room for growth here.
Yeah, and in a place where Facebook has been working hard to capture this exact title. So there you go.
YouTube has decided to remove Logan Paul from its preferred ad program and is suspending development of Paul's original video projects from YouTube Red. Paul posted a video of a deceased body in Japan that many people found offensive, YouTube included. Sources tell Bloomberg that Google will now start vetting videos in the Google preferred ad program with human moderators as well as AI.
Yeah, and we talked about this with Patrick Beja last week, and Patrick was trying to say, like, look, I don't think he did it on purpose. It was not a good move, but maybe it was just immaturity. Nevertheless, whether he was trying clickbait or whether it was just a sort of an insensitive immaturity, it's coming back to bite him, and it's coming back to bite YouTube. They took 10 days to come to this decision, and even though in the eyes of a lot of people it's the right decision, a lot of people are still saying, but why did you take so long to do it?
Well, and of the official YouTube Twitter channel and a series of tweets that actually preceded the official, this is what we're going to do to punish Logan Paul, the company said, we expect more of the creators who built their community on YouTube, as we're sure you do too. The channel violated community guidelines, we acted accordingly, and we're looking at further consequences, which is what we're talking about now. So again, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm sure internally there was a lot of debate about, what is the right step here? This is a popular person, has, made YouTube money and has also, done lucratively for himself and is part of a lot of original content, which obviously YouTube is interested in, but so it goes.
Well, and I don't have a problem with YouTube taking the time that they would to take him out of this program. I think that there's a lot of spinning wheels there. What I will say is that this is undeniably something that YouTube had to put a line in the sand and say, no, you cannot show a corpse in a video that we are, specifically created this program so people would not have to worry about random, their ads appearing on something that they would find distasteful. I would also, as much as I love and respect Patrick Beja, there are many ways if this was an accident. And I do believe that the circumstances of this thing lends it to at least the speculation that it was not an accident, that you can portray this horrifying experience without doing it the way that he did it, which I think was horrifying and distasteful.
Yeah, when you say it was not an accident, I just to be clear, you mean it was not an accident that he posted this in a way that caused, a lot of views. You're not saying that
Justin Robert Young, not Daily Tech News Show, is saying, I am not entirely convinced that this was not set up by him. That
you think the suicide was set up by him?
No. That they know that either the guide or somebody else that knew that there was a body there. And
okay. That's what I was trying to clarify is we're not trying to accuse Logan Paul of murder.
No.
Right.
I'm not. I'm stopping short of accusing him of murder.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying, which is he probably knew there would be a body there. He did not stumble across it accidentally the way it appeared.
Wild speculation.
Yeah, sure. No, okay. And fair enough.
I think.
Well, and I mean, there's a way bigger conversation to be had here at another time. But in an era where a lot of folks who are prominent in Hollywood and entertainment are having a hard time of it, this is just sort of an extension of that. It's like you're a celebrity, you're a person who is, for better or for worse, looked up to. You have a lot of followers, and YouTube has to take a stand, or will be seen as complicit.
YouTube has said too that they're going to change the way they have rules for cooperating with partners, not just on YouTube Red, but in other ways as well. Because it does seem to me that as soon as you determine someone has violated community guidelines on their channel, their YouTube Red deal at least gets suspended, if not canceled. And their participation in ad programs should automatically be questioned. That should be de rigueur, and it sounds like that's what YouTube is saying. Is from now on it will be. We're gonna look at those rules and change them to be stricter. But yeah, I mean, the reason you have community guidelines is to punish people for flaunting community guidelines, and part of the punishment should extend to any other cooperation you have with YouTube.
Samsung is partnering with app maker Next Radio to make use of the FM reception capability on its phone. An FM tuner is included in most smartphone modems, but it is not always connected to an antenna or activated.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Apple saying, no, we're not going to turn on FM radio because it's not connected. And in fact, the new modem chips that they use in the most current versions of the iPhone don't even have the FM tuner. So it's not as easy as it sounds. But sometimes it is, and I guess Samsung is saying, you know what? We've heard the calls from Ajit Pai and others to make this available, and Next Radio is the company that's been out there campaigning for this because that's their business model. Is hey, we make an app that takes advantage of the FM tuner so that you don't have to use your bandwidth to get radio through some app. Like TuneIn, for instance. You can just get your local radio through the FM radio, and it doesn't use any of your data, and it's a little easier on the battery life.
I had this thought because there was the news story that came out last week or a week and a half ago about the cassette sales being the highest that they had been in many, many years.
Yeah, heard that too.
Vinyl was, obviously continues to have its own little renaissance as a boutique item. And as Nostalgitech becomes something more and more that we find ourselves attracted to, I wonder what happens when FM is in a totally different place. Let's imagine, if you will, a post-Clear Channel world where now we've sort of moved forward with internet radio to the point where it is either so ubiquitous that now FM is for all intents and purposes, if not a dead tech, a dying tech. I kind of think that it will never truly go away because there is not only so many fond memories that people have of it, but I think it still is a very ubiquitous standard that even if it's just people beaming stations off their own phones onto other people's phones, broadcasting off their own phones into other people's phones, that it could be something that has an interesting future as a nostalgia tech beyond what we think of it now.
But the thing, I don't think until cars stop giving us like AM, FM band radio in our car stereos, there's no nostalgia to it. I mean, people listen to FM radio. I am one of those people.
Yeah. I guess
I think there are a lot of issues, and I hate the commercials and blah blah blah. But if you can put an FM band into my smartphone, I would prefer to have the option rather than not.
My wife often ends up listening to radio in her car because she's like, Bluetooth didn't pair and I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to troubleshoot it. Now, I think that's one of the reasons, not the only reason, that people still use radio is like, it's easy. I know it's going to work. I might have to deal with commercials, like you say. As more connections get built into cars, as internet becomes more pervasive and higher speed and more reliable as it is, I wonder if that advantage goes away. And Justin, the problem I have with what you're saying is that FM radio isn't the best way to do those things. Like if the commercial broadcasters stop, but you're like, FM radio is a cool thing I can do from my phone, right? It's one way. And I can do things like Wi-Fi Direct or other protocols that are going to get better and better wirelessly to broadcast over the internet even, in which case I reach all the people. And if bandwidth is good and reliable, why would I limit myself to a local one-way connection?
You know, Tom, it's a very, very good question. I don't know the answer to it. Here's all I do know is if, and again, my point is not to say that radio is or is not popular or is or is not a part of people's lives. It very obviously is. And for even what the diminished capacity that it is compared to years ago, it is still a tremendous cultural force in here in America. However, if it were open and nobody else running, and the FCC maybe relax some of the regulations in terms of at certain capacities to broadcast to and how wide you could do it, and you just opened it up to every app designer on the planet to say, do something cool with FM, I feel like cool things could be done.
I'm at war within myself in reaction to you because you're speaking my language, all right? Open up.
And what you're telling me, again, I couch my premise in Nostalgitech.
Yeah.
There's a reason why records died. There's a reason why cassettes died.
Yes.
Because of all the things. Well, you can have clearer audio. These things can be lighter. They can be transferred. Now we're beyond physical media, and yet we are attracted to certain elements of these things, if even just for nostalgia.
I don't deny that. The problem is spectrum is so valuable. And if, everyone follows Norway and stops broadcasting on radio, and it's just the Norway national broadcasters, right? It's not all of them, but if we go that way, I think the FCC and Ofcom and everybody, they just like, great, we're going to take that spectrum and sell it off to the mobile carriers so they can broadcast the internet. Because they're not even waiting for TV to go off the air. They're already like, hey, can we just take the white space between? Because we really need the spectrum really badly.
Yeah. But look, there's still lower, worse frequencies. Pirate radio has existed prior to this. What if it's just a world of more ubiquitous pirate radio?
I think what you're saying is we need a new imagining of citizen band radio that allows us to broadcast FM quality and experiment. I love that. It's like the national park of spectrums. Like here. This area of the spectrum is available for you to play with, which honestly, that's Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi broadcasts on an unlicensed spectrum because it's available for that. Well, research firm eMarketer estimates India is now the fastest growing, quote, proximity mobile payment market in the world. Proximity mobile payment means you pay with your mobile device while you're standing there at the point of sale. So you're not buying online. You're either tapping to pay or using something like Android Pay or Apple Pay or something like that. India is the fastest growing market in that respect. Mobile payment users in India grew 75.5% to 56.2 million in 2017. China used to be the fastest growing. They are still the world's largest market for such payments, but the growth has slowed simply because they're reaching saturation. There's not as much left to grow.
This is awesome. And by the way, can I give everybody a hot Japanese tip?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
iPhone 10 users, if you have the Suica card in Japan, that is the way that you get on and off the subway. It uses NFC. Apparently, they've had the capacity to do this in iPhones for a few generations, but they just got the license for Suica. You can get on and off, charge up the Suica into your Apple Wallet. It just sucks it up right off the card, and then charge it through Apple Pay. But it was living the future, baby, getting on and off without a card on my phone. You know, they build these things right here in the Bay Area. I can't do it for a BART card. I literally had to go all the way to Japan. The way you do it, by the way, you have to switch your region to Japan, keep it in English, load it up, and then switch it back to North America. Can't just do it when you're in North America.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a weird thing, but it was great. Bring it on home, Daddy. Come on.
Yeah. When I used the Suica card when I was in Japan, the iPhone had the capability, but they hadn't activated it, so you couldn't do it yet. And I was sitting there like, but I have the equipment. Just turn it on. So it's good to know that they finally got it turned on. That's amazing. Yeah. And kind of similar to our discussion about Africa earlier, this is another example of where an area of the world has leapfrogged ahead, because India also very, very mobile centric. Mobile payments, Europeans are always laughing at us when we talk about mobile payments in the US. But man, India and China they're laughing at Europe, because that's just the way they do things now. A
lot of laughter.
Everybody's laughing good-naturedly at each other, I think. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a step back real quickly before we move on from this, though. Are we in the advantageous position? Like, is there a downside to this? Because it seems like it's great.
Wait, who is
a downside to mobile payments?
Yeah, is it better that we haven't moved on? Are we going to have a second mover advantage by waiting for other areas of the world to take this on?
I think, yeah. I mean, and I'm actually guilty of this. When Apple Pay was first introduced, not widespread, but there are a few places that I was going regularly where I could use it. I was like, this is the future. Oh my God. And then, my bank card had to be updated, or, something happened, and I just kind of went back to my wallet, because my wallet's still in my car or in my purse, because I'm using it everywhere else. So I think we're hampered by what we're used to. We would be way better off if we just went mobile payments everywhere. At least that's just me, because I hate carrying cash. But I don't think there's any good reason that we are slow to adopt this very efficient technology, except that we're just used to doing things the other way.
Well, and maybe fraud would be and increased knowledge of other markets kind of using stuff like that. But other than that, I'm with Sarah. I think that this is just
and fraud is like such a big part of card readers already, the ones that we're already using.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that there's just increased security, a better way to do it. And also it just opens up entrepreneurship to so many other people. If you're not worrying about carrying cash and stocking cash, there's just another way that you can get out there and run your business.
All right. Well, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in 5 minutes or less, just to keep up, right? You can think of Daily Tech News Show as a 2.5-hour weekly show delivered slowly over the course of the week. Daily Tech Headlines is that daily update. Just keeps you going 5 minutes. So check it out. It's on the Amazon Echo as a flash briefing on Google Home, the Anchor app, and of course, as a good old-fashioned podcast at dailytechheadlines.com.
All right, guys. How are your British accents?
Mine's really good.
No? Justin?
No, I do a great. It's indistinguishable. I was over there. People didn't even know I was from Florida.
They were like, Cora Blimey, you're from Florida?
Yeah.
Well, my accent is bad, and now I have proof. Here's the context. Cambridge Consultants has a website at myaccent.cambridgeconsultants.com that asks you to read a sentence. That sentence has a lot of words that, can easily be discerned between US and UK English. And then it estimates whether you have a British or American accent based on a percentage. It also will highlight specific words that you said. It asks to use your microphone, and so you have to say that you will, that it thought outed you as either American or British. And then with your permission, the results get sent back to be added to help train the AI to be even better. I went ahead and did it just in my good old American accent. I got 98% American, which I wasn't too surprised about. But then I went back and tried to do it in my best British accent, and I got 67 British, which tells me that I should not join a play anytime soon.
Well, and the other thing it does, because they really are using this to train AI, so it will show you a little bit of the word for word explanation of how you did. So when I tried to be British,
I would rate an American.
I actually got it to do 99%, but it was like 3 words were solid blue. Blue words are British, and I had a lot of red words still in there, but they were lighter. So it kind of helped me look at it and go, oh, so I say meat like an American, even when I'm trying to be British. I was using it to sort of troubleshoot my British accent impression.
So wait, you got 98% British accent?
I got a 99%.
A 99% British accent?
Of course, Tom's like almost 100% British.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Then you have to do your outro with your British accent.
You don't want me to do please call Stella and ask her to meet Bob the Frog at the store with 3 small red plastic bags? No.
That's actually the sentence in question.
When you say the outro.
Which is funny because like plastic bag, it's like that's exactly the sort of thing where like it would know between American and not.
Well, that was the funny one is when I was trying to be British, it told me the way I said plastic was too American. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's one I need to pay attention to. But when I tried to be extra American one time, it told me the way I said plastic was British.
Really? Huh.
Well, so this is the reason that the AI needs to get smarter.
Yeah, right. Maybe. And by the way, I mean, the person at NextWeb who did this tried to do an Australian accent, and it told him he was British, like 95% British or something. So it's not perfect, but it is highlighting a real problem, right? Like the ability to do voice recognition at all is impressive, but it's usually tuned to a particular accent, usually a predominant accent. Even British and American is difficult for it to tell. So that's why they're starting with something very simple. But when you add in all the different dialects and accents just within the English language, that's daunting. That's a problem that needs to be solved.
Well, and it's also, trying to do an Australian accent and being, going British rather than American. It's like, well, that wasn't a choice either, right? So it like just goes to show you how AI picks up certain accents as similar to something else.
Yeah. All right, let's check the mailbag, Sarah. What do we got?
All right, so this is actually in reference to a conversation we had in our post show yesterday while we were still at CES from Nick, who says, just a note on the origin of the product name Vive, because I was telling Shannon and Tom and Bill Detweiler, who was on the show yesterday as well, that I just always want to say Vive, but I read it as Vive. So Nick says, it's pronounced the way it is because at one time, the Vive was in development at HTC and it had a sub-brand called Re. So the Vive was meant to be released in the rebrand. According to the leaks, the product name was originally going to be the Revive, a play on the words revive. But if you weren't paying attention to any of that stuff, you would just have no idea that that was the original intention.
Oh, look at that.
That helps me so much. Just knowing that, I'm like, I'll never mispronounce it again.
Oh, look at that. See, that's the mnemonic that you were looking for. That's great.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Hive Mind.
Yeah.
It totally revived your consciousness.
I feel revived.
Yeah, it's good to be a leave in this day and age, let me tell you. Thanks to all those who participate in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com and facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow. In fact, I put a little thing in the Facebook group today asking for your opinion on the Facebook live streams that we had done at CES. Not just the one with the power out, but the ones at the evening events, because those were very experimental. We were just trying different things out. So we're like, what did you like? What kind of ideas do you have? Let us know.
Justin Robert Young, thank you for coming back from Japan in one piece. Sounds like you had a bit of an adventure, an airline adventure, as many do. But good to have you back on the show. Tell folks what you've been up to lately.
Oh, folks, well, you can go ahead and find me twitter.com/Justin R. Young. And tell you what, here's something that I think a lot of you guys might enjoy. 5 days a week now, if you are into politics, you can get my email of links and commentary for the stuff that I am focusing on for all of the politics programming. You can get that at tinyletter.com/Justin Robert Young. Again, tinyletter.com/Justin / Justin Robert Young every single day around 11 o'clock to noon East Coast time. That is obviously 8 to 9 here on the West Coast. Free, totally free. I guarantee you, if you like politics, you're going to like this. If you hate politics and try to avoid it, imagine this being the only painless thing you have to read to make sure that you are not totally left adrift when everybody else starts talking about the annoying thing that happened. So go ahead and check it out. It's Politics Daily, tinyletter.com / Justin Robert Young.
So then you'll be a man of letters, tiny letters.
You will.
Yeah.
Very tiny letters.
Well, a couple of things to mention before we go here. First of all, again, thank you to everyone who supports this show, however you support it, whether you're buying stuff in the store or donating through PayPal. I met a couple people who are like, yeah, I support you on PayPal at CES, or patreon.com / DTNS. Your support is why we were able to do those shows from CES. So let us know what you thought. We got mostly good feedback from everyone who's talked to us so far, and we would like to do that kind of thing more often. We've even talked about, like, okay, what other things could we do like that? And the more support we get from you, the more kinds of things like that we can do. So thank you for supporting us. Patreon.com / DTS. Now, friend of the show, Will Harris, is fundraising for Campaign Against Living Miserably, a charity that encourages men to get help with their mental health. Justin Robert Young, what is that URL?
That is justgiving.com. Go ahead and search for Will Harris. That is WILHARRIS.
So once again, justgiving.com.
If you would like to get in touch with us, email is a great way to do it. feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com is our address. If you'd like to watch live or, listen or whatever, that's cool too. Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 UTC is when we are recording live at both alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And our website to catch up on everything is dailytechnewsshow.com.
We'll be back tomorrow to talk cute robots with Aaron Carson. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
So,
This
being
program.
away... What's that?
This program. What's that word?
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Being away at CES means I screw stuff
What did
up.
you screw up?
I pressed the Daily Tech Headlines audio hijack to start recording the show instead of the DTNS.
You did.
Audio
I didn't even
hijack.
notice.
Well, no, you wouldn't. In fact, I only noticed because I sometimes check the time, like how far into the show are we? And I'm like, oh crap, I didn't start recording. Then I noticed that the Daily Tech Headlines one was recording. Problem with that is the Daily Tech Headlines profile only records
wasn't
my
the- it was
microphone.
Jingle. You're not talking about the jingle.
No. I'm talking about the recording.
Got it.
I wasn't recording the show is what the long way of saying what I'm doing. But
Well, I'm not doing it again, Tom.
Yeah.
all right, fine.
Well, we could pull it from
Hold on. Let me finish the story. I was recording the full version for the patrons, so I can get that recording and pull this episode out. But one of the reasons I'm saying this is while I do that, I'm going to have to listen to find the beginning of it. So
you will not be talking.
I will
for a
not be
while.
responsive for the next short.
Well,
while.
let me just say, Tom doesn't need to respond because he already did enough talking. That was a great British accent, and the smartest thing about it is he just does like BBC announcer British and not like Cockney British like everybody like I try to do like. I always,
So you're talking. He does the manufactured British accent the best.
no, it's just very mannered.
It's real.
It's very.
Well, no, I mean, like the BBC accent was purposely devised as a way. I mean, it wasn't a naturally occurring accent.
Well, I mean, that's in the same way that the Ohio accent.
Yeah,
Is
well,
like,
no, totally.
Or
It's the same.
any I don't know, American anchor has a certain way of speaking that the rest of us are like, not really real, but okay.
And I'll be honest, the way I talk right now is that. This is not the accent I grew up with.
Oh, I've
But
heard
this
your
is
accent.
the way that you talk now to me.
Yeah, I just talk this way now, but
Yeah.
it's not the way I
I
talk.
have a friend who shall remain nameless who I grew up with in Northern California. We don't think we have accents, but I'm sure we do to somebody else. And she is a anchor now. And when I watch her on the news, I'm like, oh, that's not how you sound at all. So it's like a total, like, to me, it's like this affect, but
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I mean, and that's done so nobody feels offended or feels tribalism, and you have a better career.
Well, yeah.
Or you can
That's why it's like you don't want.
Why I never made it as an anchor. I'm like, I talk the way I talk.
Yeah, because like
so
if all the anchors come out of like 3 schools, right, like in the country, and none of them are in Birmingham, Alabama, then that's where the anchors come from, in Birmingham, Alabama. But they all want to go to New York, so you don't want to go to Birmingham and be like, "Hey, y'all, the news is here," and then like because you're not going to go to New York with that accent.
I will say, I mean, we're talking about like Nostalgitech. One of my just most favorite things, because we were just in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas isn't even that small of a local market if you think about the country, the U.S. in general. But it's not top 10 either.
No.
Is just watching the stuff that local news covers, and the people who are sort of front and center, at the big drive times, is my favorite thing.
Like local,
I don't care where I am. If I'm in a hotel in another region, I am watching local news.
Oh yeah,
local news. I mean, they all kind of seem sort of. I hate to use the word, but they all seem kind of the same. Like but it's just whoever is the traffic reporter, and the 5 o'clock drive time, and the map that you see of all the places where they're like the 5:36 is real bad today, and it's like it is all the same, but it's different, in its own way. I guess I don't know. Like it's just for the longest time, it's just there was a lot of. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seemed like there's just a lot of consolidation with a lot of these local news channels by a larger company, and they just all seem to have the same format. Which
you're not wrong. They do all have similar formats, but I think what Sarah's trying to say is she is like a connoisseur, so she can tell the vintage, even though they're so similar.
I'm a local news savant, everyone. I am. No, it's not so much that the news format changes. In fact, the fact that it doesn't is what I like. It's just that you play certain people. And there's a local component of just like what people care about when they live in certain places that, just would not play where I live necessarily. Yeah. That I find, I don't know. I'd love it.
Sarah, do you watch local news when you're like in random places and you're like, oh, like that person's a star. Like they're not going to be here long.
Or I think that person.
Yeah. Like
Best
that's
of
like,
luck.
Sorry. Hey, bye. Don't rent. You're gonna have your room.
Best of luck. You're never getting out of the noon spot.
I always chuckle when they call out the one person on the desk or something who isn't originally from there. Like, oh, that's not what we locals say. Or like, I remember they were teasing one reporter because she was out in the snow and showing you how to remove the ice off your windshields. And they were kind of making fun of her because she wasn't holding the scraper the right way.
Oh, because she was from a warmer climate originally.
Well, she was from San Diego, right? And so there's this like, it's like I don't deal with snow stuff, but it was really funny. Titles,
love it.
No titles.
Ooh, let me open Showbot.
Showbot.chatroom.net. Banned by YouTube, still better than a sharp stick in the eye. Justin gets nostalgic. Return to FM form. Test your AI accent intelligence. Drop stocks. Opera is in the region of Africa. Opera is I caught the rain right down in Africa. The white space in between. ONN, Opera News Network. Justin speaks Tom's language. Cough, cough. AI can't tell British from English.
Well, it can.
Nostalgitech.
Well, can't tell. I think what's going on there is English. The English accent is a bunch of accents. British is a bunch of more accents, including Scottish.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah,
I like drop stocks.
Drop stocks.
Drop stocks is good. I almost feel like that we should save that one for when it actually IPOs.
When it IPOs.
You're right. Yeah. It
I was gonna say I like Justin speaks Tom's language.
I don't know. It's kind of
All
weird to put my name in it.
Well, you got 2 seconds to choose, people.
I like Nostalgitech. Nostalgitech or
all right. I just voted for that. Nostalgia.
Nostalgitech. It is. The motion has been carried.
It's a new thing.
Motion.
Congratulations, eBark. You are the price is right. Oh crap. Forgot to do that.
Feeling like listening to some Toto all of a sudden.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when don't I?
Yeah, right.
I actually have that album on vinyl, but it's warped. I tried to play it the other night, like just to be like, I don't know, remind myself that I was 7 once. And it's all messed up.
Well,
I don't know how to fix it.
You can't really fix
vinyl.
Yeah, you can put them in the oven.
Are they flatten back out?
Yeah, don't put them too long or they'll just totally warp.
But doesn't that mess with the grooves?
You can get them malleable enough. Look it up because there's a very.
Wait, I'm gonna grab it and let's see if it looks really warped.
There's a short window of time that you can use. There's ways to unwarp.
I had
It's probably better if I just tell you to look them up because I'm probably misremembering half of how you do it. But I know one of the solutions was like using an oven to just get it warm enough that it could flatten back out.
In the oven?
Don't put it in the jacket in the oven.
The sleeve.
Well, no. But I don't want to melt the plastic either. This is so great, by the way.
Well, no, you have to do it just the right amount.
Let's see if you can see, because it sounded so bad, but it didn't look that bad to me.
You might just try putting it under something heavy for a while if it's not too warped.
Oh, I see it. It's a little bowed.
Yeah.
It's bowed but unbroken.
No, I mean, it's messed up. It's because I've just moved it in so many boxes over the years.
Put it under something heavy, something flat.
I'm telling you, though. You want to buy a nice gift for somebody. Nostalgitech?
Yeah.
This
Vinyl.
This is it.
I have a shoebox filled with 8-track tapes. I can try that.
You do?
I have the 45 of 99, if you want to listen to that. That's so. I don't know what's on the flip side.
They're all albums and bands from the 70s.
Well, that's kind of how it works.
I know. I think I stopped seeing 8-tracks like in 83. Like after 83, they all kind of went away from music stores.
All my cassettes are upstairs in a box.
I feel like I would get this as a tattoo. I love this album so much.
Wow, really?
I mean, I'm not going to, but
Wait, does that have Rosanna on it?
It does.
Can you do a live stream of that?
Of me getting my Toto tattoo?
Yeah.
Sure. Wait, what's funny too is
that'd be a Patreon perk.
When I was a kid, to me, this was like a scary snake. There's no snake. It's just rings and a sword.
Wait, that's not a snake.
No, it's
rings.
Think
up until this very moment, I always thought it was a snake.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. Yeah, because I was always like, ooh, because I was a little kid, so
you
Toto
just
was
blew my mind.
I was just like, oh, it's like adult music where it's like scary stuff. Yeah, no,
I didn't necessarily think it was a scary snake so much, but I definitely thought it was a snake.
Yeah.
That's not a snake. That's a bunch of rings.
Okay,
wow.
Well, now I have to get the tattoo because it's a conversation piece. I've run out of things to talk about at dinner parties. This is it.
You could say, I went in and asked for a snake tattoo. They gave me this instead.
Oh, it's so nice to have my kombucha again, be back in the, the home studio. Not that I didn't love being with all of you.
No, of course.
But how you're like, it's like, real life feels good.
Is this real life?
I think so. Feels good.
Well, I'll tell you what else feels good. Having published the show successfully.
Oh yeah, you figured it out. Got it.
Congrats.
Yeah, it was easy. Because what I did is I stopped the full recording immediately, so I didn't have to find the end point, just had to find the beginning point. And for some odd reason today, I did that little countdown, which I don't normally do unless Sarah's reading it. So that was really easy to find the beginning. So done and done. Not nearly as hard as I thought. Now I got to stitch the full back together.
Will got his plug too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna text him back, and he's gonna be like, "So you pretty much already did what I was gonna ask. Was that what's gonna happen?"
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. I love that I can read his mind.
Yeah, no, he's going dry. I know this is like a thing with like people in England now. They go dry in January.
Yeah, he mentioned something to me about it when I was out there. I think I feel like I remember him mentioning this somehow. So that's pretty cool.
Well, hey, God bless him.
Yes, I mean, Godspeed, Will Harris.
Yeah.
All right. And with that note, any final words as I stop the stream?
Just be good to each other.
Be good. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting us and allowing us to do things like CES.
Yes.
Where I could get toilet paper delivered to me by a little robot.
It was a great, fun jaunt. We all, as we were leaving to come back to I almost said the Bay Area, to the LA area yesterday, we were all like, that was just really fun.
Yeah.
No?
Like, and it's,
hopefully you guys got something out of it as well.
And you all made it happen. So thank you.
You did.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Yep.